First up today, Minister of Foreign Affairs says Indonesia will voice justice for the Palestinian at the International Court of Justice, or ICJ, that will hold a trial into a lawsuit filed by South Africa over Israel's alleged genocidal crimes in Gaza.
The ICJ trial will be held on January 11 to 12, 2024 in Den Haag, the Netherlands. Speaking to the reporters on Indonesia's position on the lawsuit filed by South Africa, Retno said that Indonesia is not part of the Genocide Convention, therefore Indonesia will use other mechanisms in defending the struggle of Palestinians, including presenting argumentations before the United Nations General Assembly and the ICJ. Retno said the UN General Assembly has asked the ICJ to provide an advisory opinion regarding Israel's actions against Palestine. Advisory opinion is a legal opinion provided by the ICJ at the request of a state that has significant political and legal effect. UN agencies such as the General Assembly and Security Council may request the ICJ for legal opinion. The ICJ's legal opinion hearing is planned to start in February 2024. Some countries such as Malaysia and Turkey have welcomed the legal process against Israel filed by South Africa to the ICJ over alleged violations to 1948 Genocide Convention on Palestine citizens in the Gaza Strip. Organization of Islamic Cooperation, or OIC, in its official statement also supported the measures taken by South Africa. Meanwhile, the United States sees South Africa's motion as useless.
And next, we will have a series of news of updates from Iran. Indonesia condemned the deadly attack in Kerman, Iran on Wednesday, which killed dozens and injured hundreds others, including children.
The Indonesian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, through its ex-social media account, conveyed its deepest condolences to the families of the victims and the people of Iran. The two explosions in southeastern Iranian city of Kerman on Wednesday killed 87 and injured 284 others. The location of the explosions was close to the cemetery of former Iran top military commander General Qasem Soleimani. Thousands of people gathered in the area to commemorate the 4th anniversary of Soleimani's death. Soleimani, a leader of Al-Quds Brigade of the Iran Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, died of a U.S. drone attack in Baghdad, Iraq in January 2020. ISIS, via its channel on cross-platform instant messaging app Telegram, claimed responsibility on the Wednesday's attack.
Indonesian Foreign Affairs Ministry and Indonesian Embassy in Beirut plan to evacuate Indonesians in Lebanon after the Israel-Hamas war in Gaza Strip has spread into southern part of Lebanon. Foreign Affairs Ministry spokesperson Lalu Muhammad Iqbal said his ministry and the Indonesian Embassy in Beirut have communicated with the Indonesian community and Indonesia's peacekeeping troops in Lebanon to check when an evacuation is due. Iqbal said that the conflict is currently taking place at the borders of Israel and Lebanon, far from Lebanon. Iqbal said that his ministry has prepared the infrastructure needed for evacuation, such as vehicles, evacuation route, and the personnel who will lead the evacuation process. The number of Indonesians in Lebanon is 217 people. And next, we move on to France. Northern France experienced floods due to Atlantic storms, while German Chancellor Olaf Scholz promised help to the people in the flooded and potentially endangered areas in Germany. Let's head back now to Indonesia, where at least 3 people were killed in a train collision in Babakan, Cicalengka, about 400 meters from Cicalengka Station, Bandung, West Java, Friday morning.
Footage from the scene showed mangled train carriages, including some that had gone off the rails and into an adjacent rice field. Public Relations Manager of PTKAI in Bandung, Ayep Hanapi, confirmed the accident. He said one of the trains was a local commuter line, and the other was a long-distance passenger route heading west to Bandung from the city of Surabaya when the crash occurred. Bandung is around 100 miles. Meanwhile, the Bandung Police Chief Commissioner Kusworo Wibowo, said 3 people, including machinist, assistant machinist, and train worker, were killed in the crash, while all the passengers of both trains were safe and had been evacuated. Vice President for Public Relations of PT Kereta Api Indonesia, or KAI, Johnny Martinus, also confirmed the train accident. The 2 trains are Turangga with number P65A with destination from Surabaya, Gubeng, and Bandung Station, with the commuter line train destination Padalarang Station to Cicalengka Station. The location of the accident was between Haurpuruk Station and Cicalengka Station at kilometer 181.
Numerous earthquakes and volcanic eruptions at some parts of the country in the past and until recently should have increased our awareness of Indonesia's vulnerability to such natural disasters. Similar incidents of earthquakes and volcanic eruptions on the other parts of the globe simultaneously should have taught us that despite being unpreventable in nature, their devastating impacts could still be reduced to a minimum.
Several earthquakes took place in West Java's Sumedang Regency from Sunday, December 31, 2023 to the following Monday. The first one was a 4.1 magnitude earthquake, 7 kilometers deep, occurring at 2:35 p.m. The second was a 3.4 magnitude earthquake, 6 kilometers deep, at around 3:38 p.m. The third and largest earthquake reached a magnitude of 4.8, 5 kilometers deep, at 8:34 p.m. Two aftershocks occurred around Sunday at 11:23 p.m. and Monday at around 3:47 p.m. The Meteorology, Climatology and Geophysics Agency, or BMKG, recorded another earthquake with a magnitude of 4.4 at a depth of 10 kilometers on Monday at 8:46 p.m. The earthquake in Sumedang has left 11 people injured, damaged 248 houses, and forced 456 residents to evacuate to safe places. Elsewhere, Mount Lewotobi Laki-Laki in East Nusa Tenggara has erupted several times in recent weeks, including an eruption on Monday that spewed volcanic ash 1.5 kilometers above its peak. according to the Center for Volcanology and Geological Hazard Mitigation. The agency recorded another eruption from Lewatobi Laki-Laki on Tuesday, but ash clouds from the volcano were not observed, it said in a statement. Volcanic ashes from recent eruptions have affected two sub-districts near Lewatobi Laki-Laki Mountain, prompting more than 2,200 residents to evacuate to temporary shelters set up by local government. Last month, Mount Marapi in West Sumatra erupted, killing 23 people. Indonesia has nearly 130 active volcanoes. Indonesia is a seismically very active country. The United States Geological Survey, or USGS, even lists Indonesia as the country with the most earthquakes in the world. Indonesia lies on the Pacific Ring of Fire, the world's greatest volcanic and seismic belt, where 81% of recorded earthquakes occur. Being located on the Pacific Ring of Fire, Indonesia also has to cope with constant risk of volcanic eruptions, floods, and tsunamis. Indonesia is also at the junction of three major and active tectonic plates, the Indo-Australian, Eurasian, and Pacific plates. These three active tectonic plates cause the subduction zones that form these volcanoes. On the other part of the globe, Japanese rescuers scrambled to search for survivors on Wednesday as authorities warn of landslide and heavy rain after a powerful earthquake that killed at least 62 people and injured 300 others. The 7.5 magnitude quake on Monday that rattled Ishikawa Prefecture on the main island of Honshui triggered tsunami waves more than a meter high, sparked a major fire, and tore apart roads. The Noto Peninsula of the prefecture was most severely hit, with several hundred buildings ravaged by fire and houses flattened in several towns, including Wajima and Suzu, as shown by before and after satellite images released on Wednesday. The toll was expected to climb as rescuers battle aftershocks and poor weather to comb through rubble. More than 31,800 people were in shelters, the government said. Volcanoes and earthquakes are interrelated as both occur due to movement to the Earth's tectonic plates. They are both triggered by the heat and energy releasing from the Earth's core. Earthquakes can trigger volcanic eruption through severe movement of tectonic plates. Similarly, volcanoes can trigger earthquakes through the movement of magma within a volcano. Therefore, one aspect of how are volcanoes and earthquakes interrelated is the cyclical relationship where earthquakes cause volcanic eruption and magma movement causes earthquakes. Earthquakes and volcanic eruption in itself are dangerous natural phenomena which poses risks to humans. Furthermore, earthquakes and volcanic eruption could create underwater disturbances that may lead to tsunamis. Indonesia and Japan are both prone to earthquake and volcanic eruption due to their geographic positions. Yet, the recent earthquake in Japan has taught us an important lesson. While figure does matter, the considerably significant number of fatalities and damaged properties in Ishikawa were particularly because the 7.5 magnitude of the earthquake was indeed big in scale and disastrous in its impacts. However, the number of fatalities and damaged properties could have been much bigger if all buildings in Japan, including in Ishikawa Prefecture, were not quake-resistant, and if Japanese people had been less aware of proper disaster response measures. Natural disasters are unpreventable, but their impacts could be contained with complete obedience to scientific and carefully studied disaster response management system.
From technology, now we move on to talk about animals. Peru has turned into the birdiest country in the world with 1,879 species registered in its territory, surpassing former leader Colombia, official sources have said. Meantime, Prague Zoo was proud to present their new addition, a critically endangered western lowland gorilla baby.
A joint initiative of the National Service of Natural Areas Protected by the state, the Peruvian Bird Records Committee, or CRAP, the scientific community, and the private sector resulted in the recording of 1,897 bird species in the country. According to the Peruvian Union of Ornithologists president and member of the Peruvian Bird Records Committee, Fernando Angulo, evidence of the new species must be sent to the South American Bird Committee, or SACC, for review and approval. In Prague, the zoo's 10-year-old female Dooney gave birth to her first cub just after 9 o'clock in the evening and proudly released a video of the baby gorilla sleeping with her mother. The International Union for Conservation of Nature, IUCN, declared the species as critically endangered in 2016. And the zoo is hoping to transfer the baby to another zoo once it is an adult to continue to breed the species. And from Colombia, with the backdrop of Vida Maitama Moorland, northwest Colombia, the released wildcat left its cage and ran into the forest. The feline was in rehabilitation for 6 months after being rescued by the Colombian National Police, who found him confined in a small space, malnourished, and with some injuries. The oncilla, or tiger cat, or Leopardus tigrinus, is considered a vulnerable species due to habitat loss and illegal hunting.